Dr. Pfeiffer had just walked through the door of his house. He was a creature of habit, so the first thing he did was go to his office and check his voice messages. He was considering getting a cell phone so he could be reached by his patients easier. He would have already gotten one if they weren't the size of a brick. As always, there was a little red light flashing on his answering machine. "Jacob," he said to himself. Sure enough, Jacob had called just as Dr. Pfeiffer had thought. But there were also two others who had called. With one fat finger he pressed the button to replay his messages. As the tape rewound, the doctor took his shoes off and pulled a cigarette from the pack that he kept in his drawer. If his wife knew he was smoking, she wouldn't be happy. She knew he had them in his desk drawer, but she didn't know that he smoked them as well. When he started buying smokes again, he told her it was for the patients who smoked. He said, "It makes them feel at ease. Makes it easier for them to tell me their problems." Of course, that was true to an extent. He bought them more so he could still smoke. While his wife thought he had quit, it worked well for his patients. Because it does make them relax. And it helped him to not have a face-to-face with withdrawals, which he knew was something he didn't want to do. The tape had stopped rewinding and started to play with a loud, annoying beep. "Dr. Phil Pfeiffer," the timid voice of Angel Vent says, "I'm having some trouble." "Of course you are, my dear," Pfeiffer thought. "You are a paranoid schizophrenic. I have seen these people. You know, the ones I told you about. They've been watching me, and I need to talk to you about it. I keep trying to remind myself that they aren't real, but they look so real. Please call me when you get this. I hope they didn't bug my phone." Pfeiffer chuckled a little. He knew she was going to be fine. There are a few patients which he would have to call, but if he didn't want them to either kill themselves or someone else, there were a high-pitched beep, and the next message started. "Doctor, I'm having those thoughts again." Jacob's voice came from the gray plastic box. His breathing was slow, but also wavy. It hitched every time he inhaled, causing him to have a sort of stutter to his breathing. Pfeiffer was looking at the strange painting he had bought. It was a disturbing piece. It appeared to be more of a photograph than a painting, of a monster coming from an old stone tunnel. It was painted by an artist he didn't heard of before buying the piece. Once he had, it made him curious to see what other works he had. They were hard to find. Most people would tell him to leave once he mentioned the name Pickman. But with an unraveled diligence, he found some more of the obscure artist's work. The piece he had was of a humanoid creature with long, spindly arms, which ended in claws. Each of the long nails was dripping with blood, and there was blood around the gnarled mouth. That being said, there were a few, well, many, which were more frightening than the one Pfeiffer had in his home office. There were also a few which weren't nearly as morbid, and a few, which was the biggest surprise after finding all the paintings, which seemed to be normal people, albeit their faces seemed a little odd. The latter, Pfeiffer had concluded, were earlier works of the demented artist. Which he had first seen the paintings hanging out in an antique store, he knew he wanted it. Not for any other reason than his own amusement, however. Upon bringing the horrid thing to his house, his wife needed a more suitable answer for his action. Thinking quickly, he said it was to help his patients. The beast in the tunnel represented their insanity. If he can have them confront the monster that lurks in the darkness of the tunnel, it will be easy to confront the monster which reside in the annals of their minds. Now that Jacob was talking, his attention had moved from that monster that hung over the fireplace and back to the box playing his patient's voice. "That picture you showed me, it fucked me up even more. I couldn't even stop thinking about it all day, all night, for the past 3 full days. I need to talk to you, Doc. Please come back once you get this. I'm thinking some awful things again, and this time I don't know if I can fight them back myself. Pfeiffer crushed the butt of his smoke into a glass ashtray. I knew that Jacob was a psychotic, dangerous psychotic. The urgency in Jacob's voice made him pause the messages and pour a tumbler of brandy. His mind went back to our last session. The session when he showed the painting to Jacob. Forced him to look at what was hiding in the shadows of the subterranean tunnel. Told him that it was the same monster that was haunting his mind. Now, Pfeiffer was wondering if that was such a good idea. Psychiatry isn't really an exact science. Pfeiffer knew that when he had started, the methods had been barbaric in the not-too-distant past. But now, with the advent of electroconvulsive therapy and the wonderful medication which had come out, doctors of the mind can leave the ice baths forever. However, Pfeiffer had some progress with ice baths and would still like to use that means of therapy from time to time. Not only that, he had seen some wonderful results from insulin comas. If it wasn't frowned upon now, he would still be using them, needless to say. There are some very suspect ideas that have been used in the past, and there will be more to come. Pfeiffer was hoping to find a way to cure the mentally insane without the expensive medications. He pressed play on the box. Jacob's voice had filled the room once more. Doc, it's Jacob. I'm hearing voices. Well, maybe they aren't voices, but something. They're scratching at the walls trying to get into my house. I went for a walk and saw them. They knew I saw them, but I didn't know if they know I know. You see, they wear masks. They want to look like normal people, but they aren't. I may have to kill them. Please call me. I don't think I can wait much longer. They're watching me on my walk. I think they know. I will not let them kill me. If they try, I'm going to take as many as I can with me. Before you ask, I have been taking my meds. They just don't seem to be working. I need some guidance. Should I start shooting? The call ended with a louder click than before. He must have slammed the phone on the hook. Pfeiffer ran his hand through his beard and thought for a moment. The meds don't seem to be working, he said to himself, and nodded while sucking on his upper lip. Another beep, another message. This time, however, it was a woman's voice. Hello, Dr. Pfeiffer. Alexis here. Her voice was slow and monotonous. It's been 2 weeks, and I still feel the same. The world is still the same drab place it's always been. I think I may need a stronger prescription. Okay, just want you to know. Bye. Pfeiffer smiled a little. He always thought that if someone had depression, it was Alexis. She sounded so much like the donkey from Winnie the Pooh. He also laughed because he really thought the pills worked for her. He had a feeling they wouldn't do anything for Jacob. But Alexis shouldn't have any problem with the placebos. None of his tests he was running on the unsuspecting patients. This one at least has shown a lot of positive tests for the others. Pfeiffer was curious how many people could really be cured with nothing more than just a sugar pill, and how strong their elements would have to be before they would no longer work. The text message also, the last, was once more Jacob. His breathing was labored and his speech was frantic. It was almost inaudible, and Pfeiffer had to play it twice to understand exactly what he said. Listen, I got one. He came to my house, knocked on my door. These things are so cunning. It was disguised as a little girl selling cookies. I have her tied up. I have to prove she's a monster, but the mask is on too tight. I have a knife, and I'm about to peel away the mask. I just wanted to let you know that I have one. I will call you back to let you know what I find. If you get this, call me as soon as you can. I hope they haven't gotten to you yet. You're the only one I can trust. If it wasn't for you, I wouldn't have learned these things were walking among us. Be safe, Doctor. Pfeiffer finished his drink and looked at the phone. Per policy, he had to report this to the police. They didn't seem like a good idea, though. If he did that, then Jacob would never trust him again. His mind was already made up, well before the last message, though. And when the phone rang once more, as he stood up, he paused and let the machine pick it up. It was Jacob. She, or would I say it, was a monster in that mask, nothing more than a red monster waiting for me to let my guard down. Only that it would have stuck. I think they know now, so I'm going to send as many back to hell before they kill me. I just want to let you know, these monsters are everywhere. You can tell by the eyes, their eyes like little silver specks on a black part. Look at everyone's eyes before you trust them. If they are wearing sunglasses, don't trust them. This is the only way to truly know if they're a monster or not. Good luck, Doctor. God bless. Pfeiffer knew Jacob was going to kill many people tonight. He knew from the beginning he would kill people at one point or another. It was just a little sooner than he had planned. It didn't matter, though. Everything he had wanted Jacob to do, he had done. Now he just needed to play the last message and call the cops in a few hours. Maybe Jacob will still be on his killing spree at the time, but by then, he would have sent a lot of them to hell, as he put it. The doctor walked to his door. I started smiling. That was ironic. He knew he was a little crazy, and crazies never suspected it. He also felt so incredibly cunning. Now he would get the people who see him to do his dirty work. As he turned the doorknob, he felt like a god. Not a soul alive was as smart as him in that moment. He jumped a little to see his wife on the other side of the door. She hadn't been there before, and it was a little disconcerting. Maybe she had known he was smoking. If she didn't, she does now. He ready to smoke and booze. She didn't seem to notice. At least she didn't seem to care. It's time for dinner, dear, she said. Their eyes met, and when he saw little silver specks on her pupils, once he found that very sexy, now seemed sinister. A shiver ran up his back as he took a step back. "What's for dinner?" Pfeiffer asked. She didn't say anything, just smiled.